process, but I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about either maybe what was the most challenging thing that you had to do or scene you had to film here, or the most enjoyable or memorable.
I think, just the learning curve in general was just a challenge unlike any I've tried to tackle. And I remember the first time that I went to Houston myself, it was sort of, it's kind of, you go to NASA and you go and speak to the actual, some of the, flight controllers and former astronauts there, and it was just this immediate visceral reminder of just how hard this was going to be. But I think, I think in some ways the hardest thing for us specifically when shooting was really, we had gone into a groove, especially with so much of the family stuff of shooting this kind of near documentary style and shooting in a very fluid way. And then at a certain point we shifted after a few months of that kind of shooting to shooting spacecrafts and trying to shoot the moon. And suddenly, the technicalities, the machinery, because we wanted to do stuff in camera as much as possible, it suddenly, we were fighting this fight to try to keep the fluidity, keep the spontaneity of documentary alive with, Ryan and Corey can tell you horror stories of these spacesuits and us trying to shoot with them, and I'm sure, Al has his fair share of horror stories too, of actually having to wear these things and shooting in, scale replicas of these crafts, which are not big, and shooting against LED screens and trying to kind of capture all the imagery in camera with gimbals and whatnot. I think the whole shooting felt like it ground to a halt for about a few days or so, and we had to kind of figure out this new language of how to do that, and figure out how to kind of inject some kind of realism into that as well. So I think trying to bridge that gap and make those feel like the same movie, especially through the shooting process, was maybe the most challenging, and trying not to suffocate Corey and Ryan in their spacesuits would be an added challenge.
Well, I think you rose to the challenge. This is
still
incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Congratulations.